just need to make this tidy. No witnesses.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 action film, The Siege. The film is directed by Brad Watson and it stars Daniel Stisen, Lauren Okandibo and Yenis Chung. Now the film focuses on Daniel Stisen's character, Walker, who is a hitman, I suppose. We see at the beginning of the film he performs a hit on somebody, but he gets compromised in the process, so he needs a new identity. So he calls in a favour. He has to go to like a local facility, and this is in the UK. And this facility kind of houses people like him, and for a fee and a bit of your time, they can give you a new identity very, very quickly. But you have to kind of stay there overnight, so to speak. So this place has got him and a few other criminals in there, and he's got to stay there overnight. However, also staying in there is a pregnant lady, Juliet, who is accompanied by a character called Elder, and a local, I don't know, crime boss or something like that, wants the pregnant lady back, and sends in a whole army of armed villains to do so. However, they don't count on running up against Walker, who, alongside these two ladies, they fight for survival. Right, what are my thoughts on The Siege? Well, I saw the trailer for this one, I don't know, not that long ago, a week or so, two weeks, something like that. And I immediately recognised Daniel Stisen. Now, you probably may not know that name. And I wouldn't have done up until last year. I watched, I think it was last year anyway, I watched and reviewed a film called Last Man Down that was really terrible as an action film. But part of me liked it because it was like a real throwback to the 80s. You know, them B-movie, 80s movies that were straight to VHS. You know what I mean? That were just terrible, but you had a bit of fun with them. And Last Man Down was very much like that, you know. I mean, terrible acting, terrible script, terrible dialogue, corny as hell. But it had its moments, you know what I mean? There was fun to be had with it. So I was quite interested in this. Now, Dennis Stisen, is from Norway, and he's an ex-bodybuilder sort of thing. Now, acting is not this guy's strong point. And if you've never seen him before, when you watch a film with him in it, you will immediately understand that. Now, if you look at his filmography on IMDb, he's actually done quite a lot of movies, big movies, but most of them are uncredited. He'll play like a Russian gangster or a soldier or something like that in some quite big movies. So he's obviously trying to carve a career out for himself as like a B-movie actor. Good for him, is what I say. Now, this film doesn't necessarily ask him to do a lot of acting. Thank the Lord is what I would say on that one, because, you know, this film will suffer massively because of it. And this film is already suffering. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to tell you that this is a good film, because it isn't a good film. But thankfully, they try and stick to Dennis Stisen's strengths, which are his physique. He's in great shape, obviously, ex-bodybuilder, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And he looks the part. But they don't kind of present him either as like a superhero in this film, like you did with Arnie and Stallone in the 80s. You know what I mean? He does get, you know, the crap beaten out of him left and right in this film, but he always manages to come out on top. They are smart enough to realise that action films these days don't necessarily accept like these superhero type characters in these action movies to a large degree. You've got to see them, you know, battle them their way through, which is what happens with this character in this film. So yeah, don't go into this film thinking you're going to get a top tier performance from Daniel here, because he's just not going to happen. The guy can't act, which isn't really fair, because English is his second language. And when you look at the physique of the guy, he's not really there to do a great deal of acting. He's there to kick ass, sort of thing. You know, but you could argue back in the day, you know, Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, you know, English was without their first language either. And their early performances were patchy at best. So let's hope he can improve, because I think there is a space in the market for an B-movie action star like Dennis Stisen. And I certainly would be interested in seeing him maybe develop and grow into the genre. But this, for me, I didn't enjoy this one as much as Last Man Down. And Last Man Down was pretty terrible. This one is, it's a very simple plot, you know what I mean? The locked down in this facility, and they are laid siege upon by this never-ending wave of armed, gangsters or mercenaries, whatever you want to call them. And it's just him and these two women up against them throughout the film, and that's it really. And when this film is at its strongest, it's when the action scenes are on screen and you see the fighting and the shooting and all that kind of stuff. That's all okay. You've seen it done better, and you've seen it done much better quality before. But for a low budget film, it's adequately done. I'm not going to say it's not. Some of the other choices really do spoil this film and let it down, like some creative choices, like some sweet jolly music when there's people being killed and shot and maimed, and you're just like, that doesn't fit the film at all. It is quite self-aware of what it is. There's even a scene where he kind of ties a headband on himself, and even though it's not like trying to immediately reference Rambo and stuff like that, you kind of know where it's coming from. There's some really cringy attempts at comic relief in this film. And again, the dialogue at times is cringeworthingly bad. There's a couple of characters, and one in particular at this facility who's got a crush on one of the people working there, and she asks for one of his keys, and he's struggling to get this key off, and he says, oh, it's a bit stiff, you know what I mean? You kind of like, oh, did he just say that? You know what I mean? There's really, really cringy stuff going on. So the comic relief really doesn't fit this film. And Dennis Stisen is not the kind of charismatic performer that can pull off the one-liners that they try and give him in this film. He's not Arnie. Don't try and make him out to be Arnie, because he will fail miserably. Try and let him do his own thing, because when he's trying to give out the one-liners in this film, it's just horrifically bad. And there are a couple of scenes in this film where they try and attempt serious dialogue with some of the characters. Again, mistake. That's all I want to say. So there is a film in here somewhere. It is a real throwback to the 80s, very much like Last Man Down. It is self-aware of what it is, but that doesn't necessarily forgive the fact that there was a lot of problems with this film, and it is not of decent quality. But again, I am interested in Daniel Stisen moving forward in the genre. I will continue to watch his stuff and hope we get improvements, because I do think there is potential there for him to fit somewhere into this genre. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.